It's funny that you can be in such a bad relationship that it makes you question your own integrity. I know that I'm a good person. I know that I have good intent, and I know that yeah, probably make some mistakes, but I'm not, I'm not the fucking devil that my partner made me out to be. And in fact, a lot of her stuff that she was never capable of looking at brought out a lot of things in me. Not like that I don't take responsibility for the things I did, but that I know my value, I know how, my worth and how good of a partner I actually am. And to think that somebody could wear you down to the point of questioning that is kind of crazy. And from the very beginning, I was like, yeah, I think this just isn't really like the most compatible of a relationship, and that's fine. And yet we just stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed, forcing each other into positions that we just simply weren't capable of maintaining. And then also feeling responsible for each other's emotions. And that is not a good place to be in. And then once that started happening, like, questioning me and like questioning myself, my intent was never hurtful or harmful. And I think that she had this internal dialogue of like people are hurtful and they will hurt you on purpose, but never did I do that once. Never. Not one time did I intentionally do something to hurt her. And I would say things and like maybe I would laugh or something at something, and she would take that as if I was like personally attacking her on purpose. I just laugh because that's my go-to reaction as like since I've been a child of like if something is kind of funny or like I'm a little uncomfortable or whatever, I just laugh. And that's not meant to be a harmful reaction. And if you interpret it as harmful, that's on you because that's not the place it's coming from for me. And so, but after you do that for long enough, you start to question, like, then you start to change, like, okay, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna try and not, like, act like that, which is fine. But to the extent of, like, it just doesn't work, though, because you're trying to change yourself for something that the intent is not harmful to begin with. Like, what are you trying to accomplish with that? You're changing your behavior to fit somebody's bad narrative that they're painting on you. That can't work. That can't work. And I'm kind of waking up to all the realizations of these things that were projections of her internal traumas and stuff like that. I can't believe that I would take responsibility for those things because like I know who I am. I know my center and I know that like I'm a calm, grounded guy. And this relationship, I knew that it was really taking a toll on me when for the first time in literally years, I matched her energy a couple times with raising my voice and like getting kind of angry and like not to an extreme level, which I'm proud of, but like it still was like how am I acting like this? Like this is not me. What would be driving me so far to a point where I actually step back into an identity that I haven't stepped back into for like 8 plus years? And that even those moments were all big realizations. I was like, what is like how like I'm not okay with this. Like what is like why am I so pushed to this edge? And I think truly it was because I was worn down of like feeling like I'm the bad guy. Like for some reason, like I did clock there was like hurt and stuff like that of like me not being very invested in the relationship. But that's not me being intentionally hurtful. That's me just not being able to invest in a relationship because I don't feel safe. And that is my own stuff, right? Not being able to feel safe and stuff like that. But also, there wasn't a lot of safety in the relationship. And that's her responsibility as much as mine. So when it comes to that, it's like you let somebody wear you down when you know you're a good person, that shit will fuck you up. That shit will really fry you. And it happened to me. And I was became such a people pleaser and such a pushover to where I just didn't really stand up for myself, and I just let her, have her narratives and whatever. And it was weird that near the end things were getting so good for me, and she still was just hurt and like couldn't let that go and couldn't see that potentially that was some projection on her part from childhood experiences to paint a picture that I am somehow some evil bad guy. And that's really sad for her, but also like good and great. I'm grateful for me that I have reconnected with the fact that like that's all fucking bullshit. That has absolutely nothing to do with me. And I knew that from the beginning. I know that I'm a good guy. I know I'm calm, loving, and reasonable, and really giving. And so, yes, I'm not without my faults and flaws, but I'm not the evil monster that she painted me as, especially near the end where she just would lose it on me and get very violent. And that was me. That was a me thing. Well, no, she did take some responsibility where she was like apologetic and understanding, but when she broke up with me, it was just I was no, I don't know if I was the bad guy, but it's off the point of what I'm getting off the point of what I'm trying to talk about here. Basically, it's just sad when somebody paints a picture of you that actually starts to affect your own self-image. I've worked really hard in my life to become a good guy and to become calm, to become regulated, and that's how I attracted the relationship. And then for the last 2 years, it's worn me down to the place of actually questioning, like, am I a good guy? Am I bad? Like, and being a pushover and like not standing up for what I really believe and how I really feel, just to not, trigger her. Like, it's not my responsibility to not trigger you. I'm gonna try to be a decent person and know that I am being a decent person. And if you still within that can get triggered by me and think that I'm a bad, evil guy, that's on you. That's on you. And that's the healthy way to look at it. It's not ignorant to my own faults and to, being open about if somebody brings something up. It's like, okay, was I being rude or evil in that situation? I really don't think that I was, but I am sorry that that affected you. I will try and work on that. Like in there, we tried to work on so many different things, but it's just a matter of like, it's just sad when your self-worth gets affected by something like that, when you know that you are a good person. And it is good to doubt, it is good to like question, but I know that a lot of this was simply projections of her own stuff that she wasn't capable of looking at this time. And that's fine, and it's not a judgment, but it's certainly helped me reconnect with my own truth and my own realities. And it's hard it's hard, but it's also a blessing to see it's only up from here. It's only not only am I back to where I was before the relationship and back aligned and back in my reality, but I'm also better than before because of all these extra things that I've learned. Even though it was really hard, there was a lot of growth and there was a lot of progress. I let myself love somebody for the first time ever and really be safe and vulnerable. And as soon as I did that, it's kind of coincidental and interesting that just after that, like maybe it was 3 months or so, like we had a break and then things were getting better for me, and maybe it was less time, and and then she ran away, which I think just speaks to, I'm not trying to put blame, but speaks to some certain, scarcity and patterns in her own life that came up when things started getting serious. And there was hurt in the beginning, and I recognize that, and that tainted her view of safety. But we're responsible for our own safety. People aren't inherently that like unsafe. There are people. I know that I'm not that person. I know that I'm not that unsafe. Um, but I've been in the position and felt deeply unsafe around everybody before. So I get that. I know that feeling well. But I also know when I'm around people enough and I get that sense of safety, it's like that has nothing to do with them, does it? Most of the time, unless they're truly toxic, toxic bad people, and I'm around some people where there's a lot of challenges and in different in that sense, and I've learned to be able to be safe in those situations of people that I would otherwise think maybe I wouldn't feel safe around. And what does that mean? I'm safe internally, so I can show up in relationships. That one relationship in particular that really challenged that viewpoint, which is also weird that it was near the end when this all, like I was doing so much better, loving her at such a different level, feeling okay with all these different things, and that's when she got scared away. It's just confusing. I don't need to get into the deep stuff about that relationship, but it's just interesting. You never really like it. You never clock it and when you're in it, and then when you have some space and it's been some time, you can reflect and realize like I know my core, I know my center, I know that I'm a good person. I know that I give very deeply to those people that are in my life. A lot of my friends can make testaments to that. Sometimes maybe I give a little bit too much. And I have flaws. Sometimes I can be in a bad place and I can be overly reliant on different people, or I can be needy and stuff like that, which I was with her. So it's all fair, but that doesn't make me a bad person. That just means that it's above her capacity to hold space for me in that way. And that's fine, and that's okay. In the beginning, I was very hard to be with because of that. But you letting that taint your view of me for the future and not giving me a chance is not actually my responsibility. That's on you. If you were able to forgive and yeah, if you were just able to forgive like people are, like people should do, um, you could still have a happy, healthy relationship with a whole lot of progress. We did make a lot of progress, and we communicated well with each other. We knew each other very deeply, obviously. The connection was really strong. So it's a sad thing, but it's also sad for me that I let that taint my view of myself. Like that part hurts, but I'm on the up and up, and it just feels good to recognize that. So if you're going through a breakup or anything like that, or you're just in a relationship that like makes you question your own essence, and you know that you're good, you know that you're not really a bad person, you really need to check yourself in that relationship, maybe get some therapy and step back and like reconnect with your truth. And if somebody consciously or unconsciously puts you down to the level of that making you feel like you're a bad person because they can't meet your needs, that's fucked up. That's just horrible, honestly. And maybe it's subconscious, but some of it was conscious. But you can't make somebody feel bad just because. And I did this too. I did that to her, I think, a couple times where it was like just sad and angry that she wasn't capable of giving me what I need, which is fair and valid. But I never let that taint my view of her as a person. I think I could see that that was a capacity problem, not a identity problem. Maybe at times it got mixed up, but at least in the end, it was like, yeah. When I know that she's a really good person and I care about her so deeply, but it's a capacity problem. We both had different capacities. It just sucks that when one person gives up prematurely and reactionally and emotionally, that's not a good place to act from, you know? You're emotional and you react, and then you do damage that's basically irreversible. That's a hard place to be. That's a hard thing to sit with, too. That's a hard, like, I have empathy for her in that situation, because coming to terms with that is very, very big and very hard. That's a lot of weight to carry. And I don't judge her for that and what she's done, obviously, but yeah. I don't want to get too deep into that. It's kind of a personal matter, but the theory is the same, that don't let somebody fucking mess with your own sense of self. And if it even gets close to that, where somebody is like calling you a, evil narcissist manipulative person, and you just know that you're really not doing that, and it's like a projection, you got to step away. Like, whether that just be space or whether that be like getting therapy or something, dealing with that, like I kind of dealt with for 2 years, and just kind of letting it slide is very damaging for yourself and not a good dynamic to reinforce. So check yourself if you're in that kind of situation. And if anybody is and you feel like reaching out, I'd love to have a conversation about it. But have a good night. Thanks for watching.